us being here, and all creation.
Do you mean humans, or do you mean like literally everything existing is evidence of God?
Everything.
Okay, well, so the problem with that is it lacks a symmetry breaker, right? Like if I said to you, it's kind of like the if everything is blank, then nothing is blank. It's basically that. So if we're trying to figure out what makes more sense, idea A or idea B, and we're both looking at the evidence, and person A says, well, no. You don't get to use this evidence because if you're right, then none of this even exists. And then it's like, well, okay, it's not like it's almost like you're trying to win by forfeiture, but it's just a very dishonest type of thing. So if everything is created, and that's how I know God exists, then we would ask the question, okay, well, let's just grant that maybe it's possible God doesn't exist. How would we know? What would we look for? But if you say God's the reason everything exists, then nothing counts as evidence that you would be wrong. So we can't actually compare ideas. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. I smell what you stepped in.
What's good?
So, and the way I look at it is that's. So, give me 1 second, please. Okay, the way I see it, I know the Big Bang Theory, it happened, 100%. And what happened before the Big Bang Theory? I can't give you a definite answer. I wasn't there. But I can't look at the Big Bang Theory, something being created out of nothing. I think something, you know what I mean?
Not really. The Big Bang is not something coming from nothing.
Okay. Well, okay, you have your opinion, I got mine about that. But okay, let me readjust in what I'm saying. I know how one of your points is like, how can God exist if there's so many evil happening in the world, right?
I haven't said that yet, but I would say that's
correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. So I was going to say I haven't said that yet, but I think that the problem of evil probably is the greatest argument against God.
Yeah. So the way I look at it, all the evil happening in the world is because there can't be good without evil. There has to be a test for your spirit in some way, and that's how people live through these tests. And if you have to, be good to others and all that good stuff. And that's how, you get your way into being good. You have to have that good with the evil.
I want to show you something.
Go for it, man.
I think
this is a TikTok video that I saw literally yesterday, and I think it's the perfect video for right now. So let's see. It's probably going to be kind of quiet, so hopefully you can hear it. For whatever reason, TikTok videos when you play them on web browsers, they're super quiet.
Yeah.
I think the real test from God is not believing in Christianity. Think about it. God only wants the best people with him in heaven. So what better way to test everyone than to deploy a cancerous, tumor-like virus called Christianity, which is riddled with contradictions and a God who unalives babies and commands genocide, just to see who is gonna fall for this garbage. God has given you all the tools you need to conclude that Christianity is not true. So while you're over there thinking, hey, I'm following God's will, I'm gonna go to heaven. No, you are failing God's test, bro. And God is fair, he gave us a really easy test. This is the equivalent of 2 + 5. If you don't arrive at 7, oh no. Heaven is gonna be so nice knowing not a single Christian will make it there. Thank God.
So thank God he says at the end. So I've been saying a version of a similar argument to that for a while, which is, you know, God tells Adam and Eve, don't do this one thing. And then who convinces them to do the one thing? Satan does, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then God tells the Israelites, here are 10 things not to do. Now, 5 of them are just like, you know, worshiping him. But then there are specific ones like don't commit it's not don't lie, it's don't commit perjury, but don't commit perjury, don't murder, don't steal, don't covet. And then what starts happening? Well, somebody claiming to be God tells the Israelites, hey, you see those people over there? Kill them and take their stuff, like their livestock and their little virgin girls and stuff like that. And it's like, well, does that sound more like God or does that sound more like Satan? Sounds more like Satan to me. God said, don't do these things. And then somebody tells them to do these things and tells them that it would be good if they did these things.
Which belief system are we talking? Like, I'm sorry, I think I missed
The Bible.
The Bible. Like the Christian Bible or which Bible?
Well, I mean, this takes place in the Old Testament, but the garden's pretty important to Christianity, and that's in the Old Testament.
All right. Well, the way I look at it is, you know, I can't say I have a one-to-one belief with like all that good stuff, all the Bible and stuff. Can't say I have a one-to-one. I just think, you know, all right, let me play like devil's advocate. If God isn't real, I don't see a point in people believing that he is. And all it's going to do is, if everybody, you know, tries to be as good as they can, as friendly as they can, you know, like all these prime morals, then the only thing that's going to come out of it is a benefit in the end. But
to the living, yeah. No benefit to the dead, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All I see is there can't be a problem with like religions. I'm not talking just mine. I'm talking about all religion that believes in good and evil, and everybody should try to be as good as they possibly can. I think that alone is like a sign that there's something in the sky, you know, and that, you know, even if it's not real, there's no harm to everybody. Not everybody, because people like you who don't believe its existence, I don't have a problem with you. I think you lived your own life, had your own experiences that led you to this path. And I think in the afterlife that if God is real, for, you know, that he will forgive you and, you know, let you in the kingdom of heaven. Because God loves, you know, in the Bible, God loves all. And when he sends people to, you know, I don't know if the word gets flagged, but you know, the underworld.
Hell, no, you could say like,
okay.
I don't self-censor on this channel. You can say fuck, you can say murder, you can say rape, you can say Hitler, you can say white people. I think that shit is so cringe. So yeah, go for it.
I think that these religions, a lot of them share that being good to each other is the best way to live, which I, you know, truly believe. I think at the end of the day, that's one of the
So I'm laughing at the chat saying stuff like, don't say white people, please. but anyways, so here's where I really like the thing you're saying about like, well, okay, let's just say that God doesn't exist, but people still happen to be religious. I think that's a good thing.
Okay, that's good.
I wish that were the case. The problem specifically with any, like this could happen with any religion. I think it is a fundamental problem that we see in Islam, but I think it's a fundamental problem we see like with Christian nationalism here in the United States is there are verses in like the New Testament that say, like Paul says, for example, there is nothing that is from God that is not good, and there's nothing that is from Satan that is good, or whatever. It's something to that effect. So what that does, unfortunately, is it convinces people that everything I believe in is from God, therefore it is good. And that basically shields people from having their beliefs challenged or criticized. And so what it leads to, and I acknowledge that these are the minority of people. Most people are good, no matter what they are. But what it does is it gives them license to push like the most horrendous kind of rhetoric and policies and ideas. Like what we see people like Pastor Anderson, I think his name is. He's the guy that goes around saying his desires for the U.S. government to make being gay, like you get the death penalty for it.
Yeah.
Fucking Stephen Miller, every single thing that piece of shit does and says and thinks. And so that's the problem. There's a way it could work, which is if somehow every single person was Christian and believed in the exact same version of Christianity, because then they would just agree on everything. Yeah. But that's just never possible. And nobody hates Christians more than other Christians, actually.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Damn Scots, they ruined Scotland. In addition to autographed copies of both my books and, of course, Spanky, I'm excited to announce that I now have stickers, tumblers, apparel, and more on my store. Take Spanky, the God-defeating penguin, and can you put that into a logical syllogism, with you wherever you go now. Very soon, I will also have Spanky Bibles and some more stuff coming out. So if you want to check that out, it's in the description. Thank you.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, but that's like another like side point is, free will and all that. And he gave it to us. Or if you believe in him, he gave it to us. And that's the way I look at it. I think that there's going to be disagreement, there's going to be evil, and there's going to be people saying, hey, I believe in God, so therefore I can commit evil and not have to get punished for it. And I don't think that's, true, holy, like righteous, all that good stuff. I think that's them being able to use that as an excuse to commit evil and to do heinous crimes and stuff, And I don't think that's being what a true Christian's about, being like, hey, I believe in them, so, I get my free spot in the seat, and I'm going to make fun of you and, criminalize you and, do all this good stuff. Not good stuff, because you don't have the same belief system. I don't think that's right, and that can't be a good thing. In a world where, there's going to be people abusing their positions in Catholic churches and all that stuff. I think that they're not really religious people. They're using that as an excuse to do whatever they feel like.
Mm-hmm. Well, go ahead.
No, you go. You got that.
Well, most people don't, they form their beliefs, they structure their beliefs based on their value systems, which are overwhelmingly something that is just whatever comes natural to them or what is ingrained and reinforced by their family or their immediate culture, right? We don't rationalize our beliefs. What people do is they try to justify and defend their beliefs by rationalizing them. So people, I think the most common reason that people who, in this specific case, happen to be Christian, end up so bigoted against, like, I don't know, like immigrants or gay people or whatever, is because that's just how they feel anyways. But then they say, my Bible compels me to believe this. They rationalize it based off of that. This is pretty well understood in psychology, that our intuitions come first, and then we strategically reason our way into a defense of them or whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, but I would say, like, with the Bible, there are some unique things that you wouldn't get otherwise without a Bible. Like oh, witches are real and you should kill them. Okay, nobody would think that if it didn't say that in the Bible, right? So there are specific things like that where
Yeah, like how
people
you can't
get their
eat
inspiration for it from there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these older testaments are like, not the truth to the T. Like in one of them, they said eating shrimp's a sin. That's weird. By golly. But, people are going to choose how they believe and live their life. But at the end of the day, the only reason I think that, God's here is because there's people pushing good, and then there's also evil pushing bad. And I'm thinking, hey, in the scenario, God's not real. I think it's not gonna affect me if I'm dead, and then the atheist belief that there's nothing after death. Then it's not gonna hurt me none trying to live my life to the best, as good as I can. All it's going to do is be positive to society as a whole. So yeah, that's basically why I think God's here.
I mean, okay. I think we'll have to leave it at that.
Yeah, I appreciate you actually letting me talk.
Exciting news, I will be at DebateCon in Nashville this November. If you're in the area, click the link in the description to get your tickets. There will be meet and greets, VIP events, I'll have copies of both my books, I'll try to bring some Spankies with me, and you get to see what I do in person. Once again, link to the event with schedule, tickets, venue, all that information is in the description, so please check that out, and I'll see you soon.
Theory.
What's a true theory?
A scientific theory.
Is quantum mechanics true?
Yep. It corresponds with reality.
In a black hole singularity, is quantum mechanics true?
That's more theoretical. We don't know the nature of what exactly is at the middle, in the center of that black hole.
Yeah, so it's a theory, so it's not true.
Yeah, there are different kinds of theories. Do you know what true means? Or what's the way you use the word true?
I'll just say something that has proof.
And by proof, you mean evidence?
Well, proof and evidence are two different things.
Yes. So what do you mean by proof?
I don't know. Say I robbed a bank and there was CCTV of me robbing that bank. That would be proof.
Yeah, evidence. Yep. There you go. And so a lot of people, common definition for true is that which corresponds with reality. And because science is a methodological system of studying nature, it has a very, very good ability to create descriptions, models, whatever, that match reality, because it's the study of nature. So with everything's all hunky-dory here.
Yeah. Are you familiar with black hole cosmology?
Not so much.
Because that's another theory that contradicts the Big Bang theory.
How does black hole cosmology contradict the Big Bang?
Well, black hole cosmology is that we are inside of a black hole and we have a parent universe, and that parent universe also has a parent universe. Everything's within a black hole.
Why would that contradict the Big Bang theory?
Well, because there's no Big Bang with a black hole.
Is that the case?
I assume so.
These ideas contradict not directly the black hole universe idea doesn't necessarily deny the Big Bang. It reinterprets it. Instead of the Big Bang being an absolute beginning of everything. It could be the beginning of our local bubble of space-time that formed inside a black hole. I mean, multiverse says something similar to that as well, but multiverse doesn't contradict the Big Bang. However, standard causes... So, no, I think the whole Big Bang thing is just a different interpretation of the exact same data that created our current lambda CDM model for the Big Bang.
Yeah, but there's also the Big Crunch theory as well, which is different to the Big Bang theory.
No, it isn't.
Is it not?
No. We live in an expanding universe. In very, very simple terms, that's the Big Bang. If at some point the universe starts to crunch, that doesn't contradict the Big Bang. That's just something that will happen in the future. It's like saying, well, one day the sun will expand and swallow up the Earth and destroy it. Therefore, the Earth doesn't orbit the sun. No, it definitely does. One day it won't, but it definitely does.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that recently. You know how our universe is expanding and black holes, they're also expanding. So that theory works that we're inside a black hole.
Yes, that's why that could be an interpretation of the observable universe as we see it. I don't really know too much about that idea. So you'd have to talk to a physicist if you want to get really into the weeds on the details of, do we actually live inside of a black hole? So sorry to disappoint.
No, that's all right. Well, that's all I have to say. But yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Okie doke.